Hello and welcome back. This is Lake Tahoe Television News. The Carson-Tahoe Regional Medical Center in Carson City reported a shooting that occurred at about noon on Sunday. The shooter has been identified by the Carson City Sheriff's Office as 88-year-old William Dresser. This is Dresser's booking photo. Authorities say Dresser walked into the hospital just after 11 a.m. carrying a small caliber semi-automatic handgun he'd recently purchased. Dresser then entered the room in the rehabilitation ward where his wife was alone. Dresser then allegedly shot her once in the chest. Hospital staff and on-duty corrections officers that were assigned to the ward detained Dresser. The victim was transported to Renown Medical Center in Reno with serious life-threatening injuries. Dresser was booked into jail on attempted murder charges and is being held under suicide watch. Cases of the flu are still on the rise in California, and Lake Tahoe's local hospitals have been treating flu patients. Barton Memorial, Incline Village Community Hospital, and Tahoe Forest Hospital in Truckee have all been treating flu patients, but so far there have been no deaths attributable to the flu in our area. Statewide, there have been dozens of flu deaths, and the California Department of Public Health says the best way to prevent the flu is to get a flu shot. Now, flu shots are still available from local pharmacies such as CVS and Rite Aid. One Truckee pharmacy told us that the vaccine is actually getting a little harder to come by, and demand for flu shots is still strong. So you may want to call first to see if your pharmacy has the vaccine available before you go in. Morgan's Lobster Shack and Fish Market is back in business. You may remember the barely 1-month-old restaurant on West River Street in downtown Truckee caught fire last summer. Now, although the fish market/restaurant was substantially damaged from both fire and smoke, the owner set about rebuilding as soon as possible. With a little help from community members, donations, and some crowdsourced funding, the owners, Sean and Heather Whitney, were able to rebuild in just 6 months. The fire department has since determined the fire was accidental. South Lake Tahoe city planners are holding a public workshop on January 23rd to get your take on the general plan that addresses housing concerns. Back in November, the city received comments from the public about priority housing issues, and since that time, they've prepared a draft housing element for public review. And a group of agencies will be holding public meetings on both the North and the South Shores to offer information on the changes that are happening to Lake Tahoe's near-shore environment. Waters within 350 feet of the shoreline are where most people interact with the lake, including swimmers, divers, paddleboarders, and fishermen. A report completed last fall by the Desert Research Institute, UNR, and UC Davis describes the current state of near-shore waters and what changes are taking place. The meetings will highlight what the agencies are doing to protect and monitor the nearshore environment. And finally, the state of Nevada's 150th birthday celebrations continue throughout the winter, and now the state has named Waddy Mitchell as Nevada's honorary poet of the Silver State's sesquicentennial. Easy for you to say. Mitchell does indeed look the part, but in fact he is a real-life cowboy poet. He quit school at 16 to make his living as a cowboy. Mitchell says he'd never made any money without horses or cows until he started telling cowboy poetry. In honor of the state's 150th birthday, Mitchell will debut a new poem called Home Means Nevada later this month. From the Lake Tahoe Television News Studio, I'm Robert G. Scott.